Okay, everybody. This short clip is to just discuss where I'm at in terms of trimming props down. I have some prop trimming jigs here that I used to use for micros, and this one here, I don't know if you can kind of get a sense for how I used to use this trimming down props. I'd hot glue toenail clippers to this jig and trim down props, and I would just put a bell housing on this guy. And I was using this for a while to trim down T-mount 30-30 props down to 2.5 inch length for a 4S 1304 5000 kV setup, and it was just a screamer. And this is how I used to do that with those old 30-30 props. And so I thought to myself, I need a length that's just a little bit longer than the old 30-45. You can see, I don't know, just maybe a little extra length there. And so I've got this old jig that I printed out. This would have been, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I know my first layer doesn't look great. I realize that. This is actually terrible PLA. But this is just threaded onto a Dremel with a 5mm bolt going through one of these holes, and this is in the 3¼ inch length, and I just put a bit in here that gives me about the length that I think I'm gonna need. It might be a slightly bit too long, but it should hug the duct without really having to sand anything down other than just a little swipe on the edge after it's done. So I'm hoping this works out. I'm going to use these props here. These are supposed to be the better ones for the Squirt, and I absolutely love these things on my 4-inch America. So I'll trim one down and see what it looks like. Just trying not to melt it there, and then I'll just get these little guys off, and I'll slightly sand these down just a tiny bit, and we'll see if that's the fit we're looking for. Okay, so let's check this out here, and you can see it actually worked really well. I've got maybe a 1/2 millimeter on one side of my duct, and then on the other side I might have closer to 1 millimeter. So maybe just a little bit of warping on my duct prints. This is out of ABS, and I elected to use ABS just because of the properties that it has. It's lighter than everything else I've printed out in the same form. I think these were coming in at about 28.5 grams. For one side of the ducts, and that's going to be significantly lighter than any kind of polycarbonate or even nylon. I've done a bunch of nylon 910 printing in the past, and ABS is going to be superior to that. As long as you anneal this, impact resistance with ABS, it's a huge misconception in my opinion as to how strong this stuff can be. Eric Camila could attest to that as well. He's also on the Homegrown Drones group. We've been running that group for a number of years now. I did go, I have these 1507 motors on here, not by choice, but I just happened to have them on the shelf and they weren't being used. Had to get some warranty replacements because of bearing issues, but these are going to be all right. I ended up extending the height of the duct by about 1/2 millimeter, increase the overall size of the duct by probably 1/2 percentage point, because there is a little bit of size reduction during the annealing process. We've got my probably don't need it, but here's my long range crossfire antenna. This is something that a lot of the mods are doing in the long range hooligans group. Myself included. Talk about awesome reception, and I know I'm not going to be going distance on this guy, but behind trees or whatever else, it gets it up there, and in a nice fashion. I'm excited about this guy, but you know, trimming down props fast, I'll take it.